So unit 3, lesson 7, we're stepping it up a notch. So instead of the slow straight line and then we added a little bit of obstacles, now we're going to do an offset weave, which is a little bit more challenging, and I'll show you how to set that up. So using the same cone pattern that we were doing a second ago, with these middle cones are the ones that we're dodging, all we're going to do is move one to the right about a foot-ish, and then move the second one to the left about a foot-ish. You can move them farther out. You don't have to move them at all. You could still just practice what we were learning on our last lesson as much as you need to. Once you feel like you're at the point where you can do offset weave, that's when you can start moving them around a bit. Make it as challenging as you need to. Make it as challenging as you'd like. Remember, you're not going to get better unless you are uncomfortable. So what I'm going to do is offset weave them. This first cone is a little bit more to the right. So I'm going to start on the right and then move to the left and then exit out my finish line over there. So same thing, I'm gonna give a little bit of throttle because I've been practicing quite a bit. I'm feeling good about the throttle and the clutch. So I'm gonna give it a little bit of throttle, come off that clutch, find that friction zone. Eyes are up, and I'm gonna go real slow and do a little bit of counterbalancing. This is where the more sharp and precise of a turn you've got, the more you're going to be able to feel that counterbalance. Because instead of just direct steering, whenever I'm dancing with the bike, right, if I were to point it to the left, I'm going to have to lean to the right. And I'll show you a little bit exaggerated of what that looks like. So as I'm going, I'm going to lean to the left here, and then I'm going to point the bike left and lean to the right, and then I'm going to point the bike right and lean to the left. And that's a little exaggerated because I'm going pretty slow, so I don't need to do all of that. But you get the idea. So as you point the bike to the right, it's going to want to fall to the right. So in order to counterbalance that fall, same as with the left, if you point the bike left, it's going to want to fall left. So if I were to point the bike to the right, I'm going to want to lean it a little bit to the left, and that basically just centers out my balance to be upright. So the bike can lean over as long as the further I lean to the left, the further I can lean to the bike to the right. And when you're in motion, it looks like this, where you're just countering wherever your bike wants to lean, you're trying to counter that. And that can give you some precise cornering. That can give you more stability when you're doing slow speed maneuvers and just getting familiar with your bike. This whole unit is all about familiarization. So there's no rush, there's no time, there's no anything. Just take your time. The more you practice this, the more you're going to realize that you could add more cones in a straight line. You could spread them out a bit to make them harder to swerve around. The more challenging you make it, the better you're going to learn, the more you're going to learn. Just don't make it, again, I say this a lot, don't get ahead of yourself. Know what you're comfortable with. If this right here is comfortable, move them another foot. And then get comfortable with that, and then move them another foot, and then get comfortable with that. If you're having trouble with the steering and just getting it on par, don't worry about the throttle at all. Just come off the clutch a little slow, pick your feet up, eyes up, and all we're doing is we're about maybe halfway through our friction zone, and I'm using a little bit of back brake, and I'm going really slow. All I'm doing here is balancing. Going slow with these drills is just as hard as going fast with these drills. So when you come up to here and you want to go real slow, I'm just using a little bit of clutch, a little bit of back brake, and I'm just on and off the back brake as I feel I need to. And I'm on the clutch, and I'm just taking my sweet time with this. And then you get really good with the slow stuff. You can pick up your speed a little bit, add a little bit of throttle, come off the clutch a little bit, and you're just dancing with the bike. And that is your offset weave.